morning, children. Today, I would like you to do a meditative exercise. Let us do it together. Yeah? Close your eyes. Put your arms, rest them on your lap. Sit straight. Breathe in slowly. 1, 2, 3. Hold your breath. Release. 3, 2, 1. Repeat. Taking your breath. 1, 2, 3. Hold your breath. Release. 3, 2, 1. Now, can you hear the sounds that around you? You could hear the leaves of the fan. You could hear the wind blowing outside. You could hear a little vibe somewhere undefined. Now concentrate on your inner self. Open your eyes. What did you feel? A moment of silence in class? Can you describe the silence? How is it? It came all of a sudden with a sudden strangeness. You cannot describe or define it. So, how many of you practice this good exercise, a meditative exercise? Is it a time in the morning, or do you practice it before you retire to bed, or is it when you are totally upset? When do you seek a moment of quietude, a moment of silence? So can you tell me, does that keeping quiet mean solitude, or meditation, or a quietude for introspecting yourself? Suddenly you became quiet. Did it touch you that you have to think something sensitive about yourself, or made you pensive and sober that you wanted to think about something? It drifts you altogether into a moment of silence where you begin to suddenly think and understand yourself. If we were to do it for 2 minutes and then stretch it to 5 minutes and then 10 minutes, and every day it goes on to half an hour and to 1 hour, because you slowly realize that this meditative exercise brings into you a lot of quietude, a silence, and slowly and unconsciously you introspect yourself of some happening in the day, and it brings you a greater happiness, a tranquility of mind that you should not have done that, but you should have done this in a better way. And that gives you a maturity of thought. Then your words become pure, vak shuddhi. So how can we do it? And why is teacher telling you this? Because I'm taking you to this state of mind before we begin the poem, written by a Chilean poet, Pablo Neruda. Yes, he's a poet who's got a Nobel Prize in Literature, and that very fact that is very essential, very much important to the present scenario, especially of corona's quarantine time, when you have to keep quiet and meditate and introspect. Why is man kept aloof? Why should we socially distance ourselves? What is the reason? And this is what so many years ago the Chilean poet put in his verse form. He said, "You have read the poem silently as a pre-reading session, keeping quiet, isn't it? Now, if you would reflect, what is that quarantine time that we had and lockdown and social distancing mean to the theme of the poem? Keep quiet, mutual understanding with our fellow beings. The two words, two expressions, phrases, very important as a theme of the poem. So that becomes a practical, experiential feeling for you when you reflect on the corona period. So now look into the poem. The poet tells that let us keep quiet at least for 12 minutes. Let us count up to 12 and keep still. What did the poet mean by that? What is that 12 standing for? Is it 12? You count up to 1 and 12. Where is that 12 symbolic to? Might be the 12 divisions on the face of the clock, or might be the 12 minutes or the 12 seconds. It is just a unit of time symbolically to tell. Number 12, symbolic. Or might be that it is a period of time for us to just keep quiet. When you get angry, mother says count up to 10 and keep quiet and mellow down. So you don't use the angry word. So the poet is telling, let's count up. Now let us count. So to whom is he addressing? He's addressing to the people of the world, the readers. Now he's asking us, you count up to 12 and be still. What will be the effect of it? He's saying, at that time on the face of the earth, there will be no moment. How will it be? It will be a time when we will not speak in any language. When we were meditating, we don't speak in any language. And that is, language is the basic reason for all verbal conflict. You use a particular expression, it hurts somebody else. So don't speak in any language. For 1 second, do not move your arms too far. What will happen if you move your arms too far? Teacher tell you don't talk, then you will pull your friend's dress, you will dash in. But you're not doing anything for 1 second, even by stretching your arms. So what is the imagery the poet is giving to you from that two activities? One is you're not doing harm with your hand. Yes, not doing harm with your hand. The word arm has a pun in it, a device called pun. What is it? One is part of the hand, the other is arms, ammunitions. Yeah, so you don't move your arms too far. You do two things. What is it? Either you harm other people or you hurt yourself. So what is the imagery the poet is giving from our day-to-day life? It is seen in the next stanza. What is that? He's telling the fisherman who goes to the sea, kills the whales. Cold sea, he kills the whales. What is he doing? He's doing harm to other living creatures. What is he telling? The other normal imagery drawn from daily life is that do not harm that yourself. How? In your pursuit, mad pursuit to make your ends meet, livelihood, you are hurting yourself. The example of the man who's gathering salt, he is just so rough and tough in his own extension or mileage to run up for his ends that he is tearing up the salt that he gathers, tears up his skin, sodium chloride on the hands, yes, so it tears up the skin. So he's doing harm. The poet is telling, look into your hurt arms so that you will not hurt yourself anymore. Then what is the poet talking about? He's then telling, at such a moment, if you don't speak in any language, don't stretch your arms too far on the face of the earth, it will be an exotic moment. What does the word exotic mean? Meaning that it is a very strange, enticing, a beautiful moment which you cannot describe. And how will it be? At that time, you do not have to hear any rush of any sound of engines or that of push and pull. So it will be a sudden strangeness where you will never hear any sound. Can you recall to your mind a perfect time in your life when you hear such a sudden strangeness? I'm sure when you sit late up in the night and you do your assignments and all of a sudden you turn and look around, all your parents and relatives or your siblings are sleeping, and suddenly you feel there is a perfect stillness, and that draws you to a standstill. Close your book and you feel it is very quiet and go to bed. It is undefined, that quietude, that silent moment. Therefore, the poet is saying, do not disturb yourself. But that examples were just day-to-day living examples. But the poet knew very well, no, it is not that. There is something more dangerous. Relating to our present day scenario, you see the coronavirus. You find that people are so busy in preparing wars. They want to conquer people globally, commercially, corporate worlds, but much more. Earlier man knew about wars with fire, gas and nuclear warfare, but the present is biological warfare. You have virus spread to destroy plantations. You have all this, and the typical example is a coronavirus, just a pandemic situation, destroying, killing people in large numbers. That kind of warfare is what silences man. And the poet asks you a question. What is the use if you have conquered everything? What is victory to you if there is no survivors? So the poet is giving a piece of advice. He's telling you, put on clean clothes. Walk in the shade, doing no harm to your fellow beings. So what did he say? Put on clean clothes, meaning make your mind pure. This quarantine time is a time for you to cleanse yourself, to cleanse your home. What Narendra Modi brought in as Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, he said, begin at home, clean your school, clean your classrooms, clean the neighborhood, clean your hospitals. We never paid heed to it, but nature silenced us to first clean our temple, our own homes, our own dwelling places, and live safe. Put on clean clothes with a pure mind, doing no harm to others, which means that we mutually help our friends indirectly. If you stay in isolation, you don't contribute to the virus. Yes, growing. And that is something that the poet so beautifully predicted, and you see that they are the international spokesmen. They tell us so beautifully. So many years ago, the poet described it. Put on clean clothes and walk in the shade. with your brethren, with mutual understanding. He brought in the theme of the poem. What is the theme? The theme is back in the last stanza or last lines of the introductory paragraph. Keep quiet and introspect and have mutual understanding with your fellow being. Next, the poet for a moment became silenced. He realized, if I would say to advise the warmongers not to do nothing, inverted comma, do nothing, the people would all become inactive, a state of inertia where they will become lazy people. So the poet is saying, what I wanted should not be confused with total inactivity. What did the poet mean by total inactivity? You should not become lazy and do no constructive deed. But when he advised the warmongers, he said, do nothing. But when he came back, he said that what he meant by doing nothing is not to become totally inactive, because it is only in death you become inactive. How do you know that is inactive means death? So he's saying the third line after that. He's saying, I want no truck with death. What does the poet give the real meaning? It's written in the last edge of the poem at the end of the page, that I don't want you to associate or relate doing nothing with that of death. Because when you are dead, you don't do anything. No activity happens in you. But what is he meaning is that do nothing means doing no harmful activities. Instead, keep quiet and introspect. So what touches you personally is that what is he trying to put in a value into you? He's telling you that you must continue doing constructive activities, work, but no harm to other living creatures, nor to yourself, but peacefully progress with something doing good, but introspecting yourself. That is exactly we do now in the quarantine time. What are we doing? Are we not moving out? Are we not doing something? We are planting trees. We are putting up the kitchen garden. We are doing constructive activities. But are we doing harm to our society? No. We are keeping our environment very clean and neat, contributing to the better living. So we are doing constructively, but we are not doing any destructive activity. So that is what the poet wants you to do. Doing nothing means to keep quiet, introspect, do no harmful activities to others. The poet is saying, life is what it is all about. It will keep moving. Life will keep moving. Even if tsunami happens, even if corona pandemic is spreading, you still find the global corporate world is busy doing its activities. The medical pharma is doing its productivity for killing the virus. The doctors are still working. Everybody, life will still keep moving forward. But for 1 second, if we are not so single-minded about keeping ourselves quiet, what will happen? In our we are all single-minded about one thing. And what is that one thing? To make a livelihood, earn as much as we can. But if we are not so single-minded of keeping ourselves quiet for 1 second, then we will be threatened by a great sadness. What is today man being taught by nature? Nature's teaching us that you are nothing. The cosmic power is so potential, yes, omnipotent, that it can silence man, however advanced he is. Saying you should understand yourself. That the day you begin to realize that I did not understand myself, it will threaten you in the form of a huge silence. So the poet is saying, if for 1 second, if you don't keep quiet and introspect, you will be threatened by the sadness of not understanding yourself. And what will it be in the form of? It will come to you in the form of a huge silence, threatening you with death. So the poet is saying, see, I've told you what are the consequences, what is the best alternatives. Now what you have to do is that look at a symbol in nature. A device he uses, the symbol in nature is that he says, how beautiful is the earth. It appears, perhaps the earth will teach us that when everything is still, apparently the earth is supposed to be quiet. Yes, the surface, nothing. It is rotating, it is revolving at the same time. It's rotating around the sun, but it is also revolving around the sun. But no objects are falling. But yet it nurtures life beneath it. That is why the seeds all sprout up when the rain falls. So where was the life? It is all nurtured beneath. So the earth will teach us that when everything is busy, but still keep quiet and nurture life within. And this will be productive. It will come to life and be useful. So the earth will teach us to keep quiet. The poet had just one thing to tell you. See, now I taught you how to keep quiet. So let's all keep quiet by counting up to 12. Once we count up to 12, just keep quiet and I will go. Why did the poet say, I will go? The poet is not going to be with us all through the years. He will become old, he'll die, but he will not be with us to remind us that you have to every day sit a little while and keep quiet and introspect. Adopt a meditative exercise on your own. Make it slow. Might be first time counting up to 12, and then you will subconscious mind will tell you to sit longer, further still, and you will be quiet. And when you are quiet, you will learn to become so mature enough to speak when it is needed, not to have verbal conflict, not to hurt others, and still remember that we must all coexist, mutually have understanding with our fellow being, and make this world a better place to live in. So we will be healing the world at this corona time, in this quarantine time, to become mature adults, to become mature, emotionally mature children by learning how to keep quiet when there is a pandemic situation, when there is a panic disorder. How will we quieten ourselves? So I hope, like how the poet said, you will keep quiet every day on the open terrace. Keep quiet, meditate. And that is why perhaps Narendra Modi insisted, the CBSE insisted that yoga must become part of the school curriculum and children must practice yoga, the meditative exercise which our Indian tradition has imbibed into our living lifestyles, so that we do not develop the lifestyle diseases what the Western countries adopted. So let us go back to the good old traditions, keeping in our mind how to keep quiet through meditation, through listening. So you will follow this exercise and keep your own world a beautiful place to live in. Thank you.